I'd like to acknowledge that this episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast was recorded on the homelands of the Darug people. I'd like to pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. Welcome to the Teach New South Wales podcast, a podcast by teachers for teachers. Welcome back to another episode of the Teach New South Wales podcast. You're joined again by myself, Siobhan, and my co-host, Shannon.
Hello.
And we're very lucky today to be joined on the couch by Marianne. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'll give you a little bit of an intro to our wonderful guest today. Marianne is an established primary educator and leader who, prior to her career change to teaching, completed a Bachelor of Music and worked as a musician, which is exciting. Now, Marianne is the leader of the Arts Unit, and we are so excited to hear from her today about the variety of programs and resources available through the Arts Unit. So welcome again to the couch.
Thanks.
Well, we've got some icebreakers to warm you up, get you comfortable on the couch, in front of the big light.
You sound excited by that.
Nothing more relaxing than an icebreaker.
It's every teacher's bread and butter come term one. Let's all get to know one another.
We think ours are fun, so let us know.
All right.
Yeah, no bias, clearly. What are you reading, watching, or listening to at the moment?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, I've just done a show. I've just done a kids musical called Pop Stars, the 90s musical. Full of 90s bangers.
Great.
So I'm still listening to a lot of Britney. I'm still listening to
Great.
Backstreet Boys. So that's where that is.
Okay, this is honestly, Siobhan and I both share the sentiment that this is our favorite question. If you could go to dinner with any influential person, dead or alive, who would it be?
If I'm really honest, and you said be honest, so I actually wouldn't go with anyone because I would be massively socially anxious about meeting someone amazing. So I would probably not want to. But assuming that I suddenly got a whole lot of confidence, probably Stephen Fry.
Great.
Yeah.
To chat with him. I've always thought I didn't want to just see him on the screen. I want to be his friend. So
That's amazing.
So I would put
That's amazing.
Imagine an hour with his mind.
Yeah, Stephen Fry would be excellent. We asked one of our amazing colleagues this question too, and she said David Attenborough as well. So I thought that was a very good response too. Imagine getting the two of them together.
You know what I was thinking onto that actually? I might feel a bit of guilt because at the end of all of his series and shows, he tells you all the deforestation.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, I think I might just start crying walking away from that. But he would be super interesting. The last one I have for you today is, do you have a hobby or special interest going at the moment, or one that you'd like to start?
Look, I'm always planning to become a gardener, but I never do it. So my life is just full of doing, outside of work, I just do crazy amounts of community theatre and then I've just got family and life admin and all that. So I'm always thinking I'll become a gardener. I'll be sustainable. I'll grow my own vegetables. It'll be all, but it's a long way from happening.
It's on the vision board.
It's on the vision board.
I feel like
it's always when things calm down.
Yeah. I feel like one thing they don't tell you about adulthood is that there's just lots of weeds.
Yeah. Lots.
So many weeds.
Lots of weeds to pull.
I now understand what my dad was always going on about.
Too many odd jobs.
Weeds. And lately with the weather, there's lots of stuff that's fallen off trees onto everything, and that's not fun.
Too much maintenance.
I know the world we live in.
I agree.
It's challenging.
Would you feel warmed by the icebreaker question?
Ready to go.
Excellent. Well,
jump into the hard stuff.
That's right. I'll kick off. Would love to hear from you about your pathway into teaching, because we mentioned earlier that you are a career changer.
Yes.
So what kind of sparked that transition for you?
Yeah. Okay. So I started after school. I did law for a little bit. Did a little bit of law, but that was not for me at all. And then I transitioned into an arts degree with music, and then it became a full Bachelor of Music degree. And then I worked as a professional classical singer, and I also played piano and I taught a lot. So most musicians have got a performing practice and a teaching practice. And I guess over sort of 10 years or so, I realised I was doing more singing and more performing, and I realised that actually what I loved was teaching. And genuinely, I found that when you're teaching little kids to play the piano, which is the bread and butter, a lot of teaching little kids to play the piano, you're teaching the same thing over and over and over again. But every kid is different. And I always thought I loved the challenge of how do I help this person learn the thing they need to learn next to learn to play the piano?
Yeah.
And the actual intellectual challenge of how to do this was, I that became the thing I loved the most. I thought, oh, maybe you want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I had never wanted to be a high school music teacher. Just was not interested in that for a whole lot of reasons. And some of them were to do with, I guess, my age, because I think I might be interested in that now. I do, but I just, that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I loved teaching little kids, and it was like a real light bulb moment. I was like, oh, you want to be a primary school teacher?
Yeah.
So gave up what I was doing. I'd been overseas for a little while, and I went back to uni when I was 30, and I studied primary teaching. And from like, not exaggerating at all, my very first day, I was like, this is what I meant to do.
Oh,
this is
that's
it.
special.
This is the best job in the world. And I loved it. And I loved every single minute of it in the classroom. Yeah, because that challenge never stops. Every single day, it's like you've got 30 of them there, and you've got all of this content, and they need to learn these skills, and they need to develop this understanding and this knowledge. And you've got the constant challenge of how does each one of these human beings get better at what they do. And that is just wonderful. I love that. Loved it.
It's such a privilege, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And I can imagine in the primary setting, there's plenty of opportunity for you to embed your musical knowledge into that, because, you know, obviously you're teaching across a range of subject curriculum areas. How did you find that your skills as a practicing musician then translated into your skills as a classroom teacher?
So absolutely, that is what my journey was then. I went and did most of my teaching in lower socioeconomic areas and in rural areas, and in gorgeous schools where it was very long way away from where I'd been. In my community, I was helping to, I sort of started a community of schools concert that then has been running for 20 years, and became a kind of go-to person for music, because teachers and kids and families just, they want that. So I found that I was straight away always using my music in my teaching. But I also found that it really alerted me to the importance of the arts. So I'd gone from a situation where I took for granted the fact that I had these fantastic opportunities as a kid. And it's when I started to really realize that not all kids have the same opportunities, and that it's sort of on us as a system to make sure that we are redressing that balance. And so as a classroom teacher, I did a lot of not just music, but then I, really realized the power of drama. Drama is incredibly important in the primary classroom, and teachers don't all equally feel confident in teaching drama. And drama has this power to improve oracy, which we know is incredibly important in the primary classroom. It has a power in terms of that then has flow-ons for literacy, but it also builds teamwork and empathy. It's an amazing tool in the primary classroom. And so I was really doing a lot of drama teaching, a lot of music, obviously a lot of dance. I'm not a dancer, but I do love.
Everyone's a dancer.
Everyone's
right?
a dancer.
You know, we're not, but we are.
Absolutely.
The attitude to have.
So modelling that for kids and providing increased opportunities for all the kids to have those experiences was just the joy of teaching as a generalist primary teacher. So loved it, but it kind of made me realize more how important it was and how not everyone's getting it, which has sort of led me to my next step.
Well, let's dive into that equity lens, because I can tell by speaking to you, like, that's such a, big part of your philosophy. So I want to talk about, in particular, advocating for equity in the arts space.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can talk about this all day. So at the end of the day, people care a lot about arts education, but a lot of people who care about arts education care about it at the pointy end, because that's how we see our amazing, talented, high potential and gifted kids who've had lots of opportunities. We can put them on a stage, they can look amazing, and that becomes something that we like to focus on in the arts. We look at the best and the brightest and the ones who are already achieving. And I think that people who look at an equity lens in education often don't think about arts, because they think of it as a kind of an extra, as an add-on for the lucky kids, for the very talented, sometimes it's about the very wealthy. And what I learned as a teacher is that actually the arts matter most for the people who are not in environments where there's a lot of cultural capital already. Where you can be absolutely life-changing is when you can provide arts opportunities for kids who may not get that at home or outside of school. And what arts opportunities can do for kids, it gives them an ability to express themselves, to feel good about themselves. So, and a colleague of mine who's in the visual arts said one of the reasons that visual arts teachers are sometimes have the best relationships with their kids at school is because if you're history, you're teaching kids about history. If you're teaching visual arts, you're teaching kids and giving them the skills to be more across themselves and more able to express themselves. You're actually giving kids the skills to understand themselves better and to communicate in the world. And I think that is one of the things that's so important about the arts is it just gives kids agency. It can give them a lot of confidence. Yeah. Really important for kids who are maybe not as good at other things. They find their place and that then gets them to school and gives them a sense of themselves. So confidence, agency, expression, and a bit better ability to understand themselves and a better ability to understand others. That's what I was saying about drama earlier, like that empathy building that you get from participating. And in music, so music's a whole special case, and there's a whole lot of research about the importance of music education early for developing cognitive skills. It's, there's burgeoning research in this space, and basically if you can get enough early music education, it can help your pattern recognition, it can help your language development, it can help your literacy, can help your maths, as well as helping you to make music, which is a joy in itself, and make music with others. It's a fantastic way to teach kids to work with others. Not everyone plays team sports, and we all know how important it is to be part of a team. You sit down in an orchestra or in a choir, you are straight away needing to be the best version of yourself for each other. And that, you can get that through music. So I believe it's a fundamental human right to have arts education. It's not an add-on. It's not just for the families who can afford it. And that was the learning that I had from teaching kids in places where they weren't having those experiences outside of school. And another thing, in terms of high potential and giftedness, that's where, I taught kids who in another circumstance, they would be professionals now. They had so much natural talent. And if you just the right teacher connecting with that amazing kid, I was thinking about a family that I taught. We had a family of kids who were the most amazing dancers, and just the right teacher spotting that and giving them opportunities to then do it. It can shift the whole trajectory of that young person's life. So
absolutely. Your passion would be so infectious for your students as well. And I think, we joke about we're not a dancer. I certainly wasn't a dancer per se, but, and I've told this story before, but I was tapped on the shoulder and asked to take on the Stage 3 dance group. I had no idea about dance, how to dance. I was YouTubing videos with my colleague. We were doing it in partnership. We were practicing most afternoons to nail it. But I knew those students who were coming to our lunchtime rehearsals, that was, for some of them, the best part of their week.
Absolutely.
So you betcha I showed up. I was acting on the stage. And I was pretty honest with them. I was like, you know what? I'm a bit frightened to show you the move I've been struggling with after school, but here we go. I'm going to give it a crack. You can see me having a go of it. I'm going to put my whole heart and soul into it because I believe all of you can get up there on the stage and you can make this your own, and we can make this something wonderful. And you know what? You want to go and perform at the local shopping center for when we have a performance available. Let's enter ourselves into that. Let's do it. Let's put our hands up to showcase here, there, and everywhere, because you deserve that opportunity. You're great. You love this. You're showing up to your lunchtime rehearsals, and you betcha I'm going to back you for that.
Yeah.
And they deserve that passion. And I think that's a huge, huge role that we have to step into as well. Whether or not you're a fan of the arts, think you're good at the arts, whatever, it's not about that. We're there for those students, and we need to provide those opportunities.
And that's a beautiful lesson in and of itself. Seeing a teacher step out of their comfort zone is a powerful message. We've got to do that all the time. And I did that in dance. You think you're not a dancer. You do. You go out, you make a fool of yourself, and they go, oh, I can do that. And all those lessons as well about, and I think the arts is perfect for this, where it's effort and then achievement. It's really easy to see it. So we worked and we went and Miss turned up and we turned up and we all cared about it, and then we practiced and then we could dance.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson about learning everything.
Yeah.
They're quite discrete chunks of things you're learning, and then a performance is a great way to celebrate that learning, and it reinforces the idea that if I try, sometimes I can do it.
Yeah.
But the power of the teacher having a go. And as you say, it is
Absolutely.
for some kids, we know this, we have data on this. For some kids, that is the day they turn up.
Yeah.
Because
Can be their
there's
driving
dance
force.
Yes.
Yeah.
and maybe it's touch football and maybe it's chess.
Yeah.
But all of those extra and co-curricular things
Yeah.
so powerful for
Yeah.
engagement.
Oh, you bet you I was showing up for AFL too.
Yeah.
Wearing many hats and there was a diversity to it.
Yes.
The craft.
100%. She's the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So your first exposure with the arts unit, was that actually as a student yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think
Absolutely.
that sort of impacted the trajectory of your career, or tell us a little bit about that first exposure?
So interesting. Again, it's to do with the contrast of experience. So I went to school in a really lovely selective school in Sydney that gave me lots of opportunities. And I was an arts unit ensemble student. I was in the Sydney School Symphonic Wind Ensemble and the Sydney School Singers. And I did lots of performances. We played the recorders in the Opera House and all of the things that the arts unit has provided for hundreds of years, way back when I was a kid. And they were just great experiences. I took them for granted, but they were great experiences. And then I went on and had my career. And then when I came back to teaching, when I got into teaching and I came back to looking at what the arts unit did, it looked very different from where I was with the kids I was with. And so I guess that seeing how powerful it could be to have an experience like bringing a group of kids to the school spectacular, which is a massive undertaking for teachers to do. It's a massive undertaking to put it on. I know that from being on the side of it that I am. But also when you've taken, 16 kids and it's a 3-night excursion and you're looking after them all day and all night and rehearsing, it's an undertaking for teachers, but they all love it and know how important it is for the kids.
Yeah.
When I did that, I thought, well, this is amazing and I need to facilitate this for my kids. I remember taking my first group to the Festival of Choral Music in the Opera House, which is we do a concert series every year for 4 or 5 nights in the Opera House where primary kids come and they sing in a massed choir and you learn all the music through the first half of the year and then you bring them in to perform. And that is another life-changing one. I remember bringing my kids for the first time from my little rural community over the hill on the bus and they saw the Opera House where they were going to perform and they just lost their minds. Like it's just huge.
Yeah.
To be able to do that and to have that experience of singing with so many other kids and it's just life affirming. It's glorious. So yes, I loved it as a kid, but I think as a kid I didn't realize how special it was. And then when you do it as a teacher and you bring kids and you see them having those experiences, it's just wonderful every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
But potentially, being publicly educated myself, I have had those exact same experiences. Like I've performed at the Opera House through school. Wasn't great, but whatever. I was still there and was in the school spectacular and you kind of just, they're sort of a given, but you don't realize that that's, the opportunities that are provided to you in the public education system. And we're talking about, that equity lens. It's like that's on offer and those are some of the most incredible times for your students and some of my best memories from school myself. So it's just so great to see the power that it has and how it keeps transforming into bigger and better.
Spec's a lot of work. Yeah. It's like a lot. And you're sort of in the headspace of doing the work. But when you get there in the final couple of days and you just the opportunity to see how excited and it's more than excited, it's more than thrilled. The kids, it is life-changing. And you see and I always love, my favorite moment is there's a part where the choir walks onto the floor and their teachers have walked them down from the and you look in the tunnel and you see all these teachers, their heads popping over to see their kids on the floor. And that's I always go down and take a little photo of that because I think, the joy that the teachers have in providing that experience to their kids, I find that incredibly moving and rewarding.
Yeah.
It is, and it's the journey. And I felt that with my little dance group. Year on year. There's nothing quite like it, to be honest with you. And I think for our teachers listening or our pre-service teachers listening, I'd be shocked if they didn't know what the arts unit was, first and foremost. But for those who are looking, to have a deeper understanding of what the arts unit can offer, and, we might have to do a couple of episodes on this because it's unprecedented how many resources are there for us. But where can we go? What can we access for our students in our classroom?
So the first thing for new teachers to do, I would just reinforce what you said about your dance group and the richness of the opportunities you can provide your kids in the co-curricular space. That really is obviously incredibly powerful for kids, but in my experience, it's also powerful for teachers. So they should know that you might be giving up your lunchtime, you might be doing your drama club after school, you might be coming in the morning for band, and that might seem like a whole lot of extra work. But most of the teachers I know find that to be one of the most affirming parts of their job too, because you're connecting with kids at a different time in a different way as well. So it's really beautiful. So just a little plug for take on the dance group. So, but the arts unit provides some opportunities across art forms. So go to our website, which is the arts unit. Just Google the arts unit, and we'll start. So there's music opportunities. There are ensembles that individual kids can become involved in. They can apply to, but there are also workshops. There are also festivals that you can bring your school to. So the Festival of Choral Music for primary kids, the Festival of Instrumental Music for primary kids, In Concert for secondary, which is at the Town Hall, is another big concert with a mass choir and lots of individual items. The School Spectacular, as I mentioned. There's also a lot of regional events. So we have officers who work around the state. So there are, local community of schools concerts as well, which are also there on our website. And in dance, we have kind of state ensembles, but then there are lots of local ensembles around the state. There are local festivals in every area. So dance groups, get on and you apply to your local dance festival, you get your stage 3 dance group. Once they've done the shopping centre, then they're ready the next year. They apply for that.
We did.
Shannon knows the next step.
Then they go, and then there's the state dance festival, kind of a pinnacle event, and then you have the same in drama, and there are workshops available people can apply to. There are visual arts programs like the wonderful Operation Art, which is where the different schools do it in different ways, but they might do their own exhibition and then select some works and put them in for the Operation Art program, where some of the works are selected to be exhibited to become part of the permanent collection at Westmead Children's Hospital.
Oh,
so it's a beautiful partnership with the hospital. Art Express program. We have some mural programs as well, which is really very popular to get a professional mural artist into your school to work with your kids to make a permanent mural for your school. We have the Premier's Reading Challenge, and I know that you've spoken to.
We do have an episode on that. Yeah, we do.
I won't go into Premier's Reading Challenge. I think a lot of teachers.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Lovely. And Premier's Spelling Bee.
Yep.
Everyone loves a spelling bee. We have the speaking competitions.
Yes.
Another important.
My favourite.
Yes. So we have speaking competitions, which is public speaking and debating competitions all around the state. Again, pathway to pinnacle state finals. They're wonderful, very motivating for a lot of kids. A lot of kids find debating to be a fantastic way to develop their critical thinking without necessarily being written. It's a lovely way for those kids, those kids who have really good capacity in analysis and critical thinking, but they're not necessarily loving writing essays. But some of them love writing essays too.
Yeah.
We love the debating. What else have we got? That's our main. There are quite a few cross arts festivals that we also run. Apart from the School Spectacular, we have something called Pulse Alive, which is something that's easier for schools to access because you can really come and do it in one day. You perform, you rehearse in the daytime and you perform at night. It's more for experiential really, even though the end result is a gorgeous concert. And we have a series of programs that we've developed that build on the Pulse Alive, which are Pulse, they're sort of a touring program, and we've recently gone to Moree, to Mildura area, Sunraysia area. We've gone to Broken Hill, and we're going to Deniliquin this year, where we take the experience of Pulse Alive and some of that, the great music, the great choreography, and we teach it locally in a short 3-day workshop where we will go to that area, and then we'll put on a concert with that community of schools, which is a way
like
of
trying to get
that experience of the excitement of performance to more places.
Yeah,
Where,
fantastic.
So we've got those are the sorts of things we have on offer. But we also have a whole lot of digital resources that are really, really high quality. I know a lot of my friends and colleagues from school that's the thing they often say to me about the arts unit, that thank you so much for those.
Yeah, they're on demand.
They're on demand. They're
That's
basically we developed a suite of lessons that are basically, you can do them if you happen to be on, you're doing RFF or you've suddenly got a casual day and you've got to find a really good creative arts activity. It's there.
Yeah.
Which is great, So take your pick, teachers, essentially, because there's a whole suite of resources and opportunities. But how do I stay in the know? There's lots going on. How do I actually know what's going on? What's the latest?
So everything that we do is always in staff notice board.
Excellent.
We make sure that everything is always in staff notice board. Once you're engaged in any of our programs, you'll then get on a list and you'll have emails. But up to that point, definitely staff notice board. Always be looking out for closing dates. Oh, I didn't talk about film.
Tell us.
Film by and Capture. We have 2 fantastic film projects. One is like a primary up to lower secondary, which is Film by, which is of kids making films on iPhones and that kind of thing. And then they make their exhibitions. What do they call it? It's not an exhibition. What do you call when a film? Festival.
Oh, film festivals. Yeah.
Film festivals in local areas.
Yeah.
And then we can have the best of the best is in a film by invitation. And then we also have a film festival for secondary schools, which is based on some work that the curriculum team did on called Capture, which is resources for filmmaking.
Yeah.
And then we ask students to put in entries, and then we have a big celebratory film festival and we have a winner and all that kind of thing. So film is also something we do.
Excellent.
I love that. And I think like what you've talked about, all those programs are so wonderful for us to be able to access as teachers on demand, like you mentioned. Yeah. Let's talk about embedding them in our classroom, because like you mentioned, sometimes it can be seen as an added extra, which breaks my heart as a woman who loves to perform, for whoever's watching.
As a fellow diva.
As a fellow diva, drama extraordinaire. Some really easy ways to incorporate the arts in our classrooms. What could that look like?
Oh,
I know it's a loaded question.
This is lovely. And this
a holistic approach.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like as a teacher, the first place that I embedded arts was in literacy. Yeah. So if you're teaching, you've got your cater to reading groups. If you do not have a drama activity in there, what is even going on? They've read the book, now they go and they make up a play.
Yeah.
Very simple. You've got some iPads, they make a film. They go and you give them the Play-Doh and an iPad, and they do stop motion to retell the story.
My favorite activities. Yeah.
So they write a song, all of those things should be in your daily literacy activities. Absolutely, without question. I think visual arts is incorporated already really strongly by most teachers. Now that maybe I'm not right about that, but I feel like most teachers are feeling pretty comfortable in the visual arts. I feel like the performing arts are more where teachers are like, oh, that's a specialized skill.
Yeah.
Someone else does that. And I think that's where we can, as a system, we can be providing that support, which is available on the Arts Unit website.
Yep.
Some of our activities, because there's an awful lot of really straightforward lessons and activities where something can be linked very easily to what you're doing in your literacy. We've also got a lovely series of videos about using drama games in maths as well.
Nice.
There's dramas everywhere.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, touching on visual arts, like I went and observed a more experienced teacher than me in my early years, and she was huge on bringing maths into visual arts. And as a beginning teacher, I feel like I was almost when finding my feet, I was compartmentalizing my curriculum.
Yeah.
So I was doing maths during maths time, I was doing science during science time, and going in and visiting a classroom where that was happening with the cross-curricular, for example, units really opened my mind to what was possible. And it's so funny because we always give the advice, go and observe.
Yes.
Go and observe, because you learn so much, and we don't get enough observation time while we're at university because we're balancing it all, right? So that's the thing. Look out for your colleagues who potentially are embedded in the arts in your school. Yeah. So the way it was structured at my school, we had KLA groups, for example, and I think it was in my third year of teaching, I was like, I'm really interested in the Kappa space, creative and performing arts. I want to lead the KLA. So I shadowed, and then I ended up leading it on the years on. And that was where I got to experience Operation Art. Oh, let's sign our students up. I got this email. Let's do it. Like, it was those opportunities that came by my desk from doing that role at a school that I was able to sort of advocate for the arts. And I learned so much more about being able to hone in on that as a KLA. And I'd recommend it for people. Go on the arts unit, for example, but observe your colleagues.
I think this is absolutely key in all of learning in teaching, is about observing, because number one, you see what ideas you're going to steal. You also see what you're not going to do. Yeah. But you also, and I think this is a really important thing I always say to young teachers, you're not going to be someone else. You're not going in there and going, oh, that person does it the best, I'm going to learn to do it like them. That's never going to work. You have to do it the way you are, and you have to be authentic, and you have to be true to yourself. So the thing not to do with the creative arts is to just go, that's being done by someone else. I think that's the most dangerous thing, because that's what creates that societal expectation that you only do the arts when you're good at it. And we see kids from 5, 6, 7-year-olds, they'll have a go at everything. They'll be singing, they'll be dancing, they'll be painting. And around, in my experience, around 7 or 8, kids start going,
society kicks in.
She can draw. Oh, I won't draw. Oh, he's
they get
a dancer, and then they start.
Yeah.
And people always, the number of times that when you meet someone as an adult and they'll say, oh, I love singing, but I'm not a singer. Like we are so apologetic about our participation in the arts, and it's just, number one, we have to stop that. But number two, we have to show kids that participation in the arts is not just for kids who are good at it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. And we don't do that we ask everyone to join in sport. We ask everyone to learn to read, but we kind of go, oh, if you're not a singer, everyone can sing.
Just stepping in from a secondary teacher's perspective, I think a lot of the time, potentially some secondary teachers can be a bit hesitant because they think, well, there's going to be no buy-in from the students, or they might think this activity is not going to work, or it's lame, or I'm not connecting with them. I think integrating those activities into your lessons does give you the opportunity to connect with them, and you will see your students in a different light. I promise you.
Absolutely.
I start off every Shakespeare lesson introducing to my students through a whoosh, which is basically a rough synopsis of the play, and the students act it out, but everybody gets to act, and it doesn't matter what part you're playing. We just go around in the circle, take different lines. I add sound effects. I get the students to create the sound effects with me. I've got some accompanying slides in the background to really set the mood, and that's when I see my students in their best light, when, one of my boys who's very talkative in class suddenly has to play Juliet as part of the whoosh, and it's a fun experience. So I think being brave in how you do it, because a lot, that does require some classroom management skills in establishing these activities. But I think if you, set your expectations and tell your students, I'm really excited to see this in action, and I'm really excited to see you all flourish in this new role or this new activity, then just give it a go, because I think you'll see them in the best possible light for sure. I've got lots of great ideas of how to embed creative arts into
We're
lessons.
both very excited about it. You can tell.
But it is an act of courage for the teacher, but it's definitely one that pays off. And even really cool teenagers will actually get all in if the teacher gets all in.
That's it.
Yeah. And if a teacher's self-censoring and going, oh my God, this is going to be a bit embarrassing. Oh, the kids aren't going to like this. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So there's
leave it at the door.
There's this respect that they have for a teacher getting all in.
Yes.
That then flows into everyone having great.
And there's so much magic to that in the classroom. Going back to my whoosh lesson, I'm welcoming them all in, and I say, don't sit at a desk. We're moving the desks today. All the desks are going around the edge of the classroom, and suddenly it's like, what are we doing? They go and sit in a circle, and you'd be surprised how long it takes secondary students to sit in a circle and, make it a nice looking circle. But, that element of surprise to them in the lesson is what's really exciting to me. So,
I agree. Yeah.
Big advocate for embedding, the arts holistically into your programs and not kind of using it as a tack on.
It's not tokenistic.
And I think one of the other things that is important for young teachers to know, and hopefully all of them have the support in their exec to enact this. So don't be scared of a lesson that's noisy and messy. Because one of the other reasons teachers are scared of the creative arts is that they feel that, like a young teacher feels that they're, and I think sometimes they imagine this, it's not as intense as they think it is, that there's this scrutiny, then there's this judgment, and that someone's walking past your classroom and checking whether everyone's on task, and on task silently
which is not
writing
true.
something, and that is nonsense. You know, that engaged, well-managed lesson that is quite noisy, that does have
It's productive noise.
It's productive noise, and it's creative, imaginative noise, and you do not teach you. I mean, I did a master's on classroom talk, and one of the things that we do with little kids is we often would just throw them into groups and go, go and work this out. No, you teach kids how to have the conversations that are productive conversations, but then you let them go. And you let them you let them make noise, you let them make mistakes, you let them make mess. And if you don't do those things, they're not going to be learning. But I think it's important for teachers to feel supported in doing that. And sometimes it'll go absolutely terribly wrong. Like it will.
But it's part of the joy of teaching.
Absolutely
is.
It absolutely is.
And I like how you said support, because we have direct support in our schools. For example, you can go to your head teacher, you can go to your assistant principal, for example. But what does support with the arts unit look like if I'm looking further afield? So I can go to the website. Is there another place that I can come together and gather knowledge or ask questions?
Well, yes. I mean, we're always happy to, respond to any emails. But there's also, don't forget that the department also has the whole curriculum arm for the creative arts as well.
Yeah.
And we work really closely with the curriculum team. But if you're looking at how do I best deliver the creative arts in my classroom, actually, sometimes if you come to us, we will go, and here's the contact for the curriculum team, because they are able to support. But we have a wonderful team of specialists across each art form. We also have arts coordination officers who are in around the state who are available, to provide that kind of advice for how do I get involved in this program. And one of the things, even though our programs are co-curricular programs, there's a huge amount of curriculum learning that is embedded in participating in them. So it's hard. It's kind of one of those things that goes through the, in between the, it's not a very clear line, but we'll say.
We're not siloed, are we?
We're not. And
we have to work together.
We do.
And we work better together.
We absolutely do. So if you put your hand up, say the equivalent of your stage 3 dance group, if you've got a young teacher who says, I did sing at school, but I'm not that sure that I'd be able to teach the recorder group.
Yeah.
I can tell you the recorder group, that is life-changing for those kids. It's a chance to learn to read music. It's a chance to learn to play an instrument, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. And I won't hear a word against recorders. Don't say it.
I loved my recorder in primary school. I was elite at recorder.
Absolutely.
Hot cross buns coming your way.
So if just say you're a young teacher going, I don't know if I'm that. I mean, I can remember hot cross buns, but I'm not sure if I could do it. We have so much support available to that teacher. Now they get the professional learning that's formal at the start of the year to participate, and then we're available to support them on their journey.
Nice.
So that is then feeds into their music professional learning.
Wonderful.
So the same with the festivals of choral music. Any of our performance programs that we actually run, or our debating public speaking, any of those programs have embedded professional learning for participating schools. And then you've got contact people you can ring,
which is great to know. What would be your advice to those who are new to teaching and looking to learn all things arts?
Yeah, is to be brave. Come to us for advice for sure, but every school is going to embrace a person who has some arts, even if not experience and skill, some arts confidence.
Yeah.
Go in there.
Nice. I like that.
Be prepared to put your hand up to do the things. I was talking to a friend of mine who was an SLSO at the school where I was principal, and who is now a teacher. She's retrained and she's using arts unit resources for all the lessons. But then she put her hand up to take a dance group, and now I think she's working on the committee that is now running the local dance festival.
Beautiful.
Just because that number one, it makes you it's good on your CV, no question about it. But it gives you a chance to get to know the kids in a different way, and it's extremely it's got its own satisfaction and its
Yeah,
own reward.
I think it pays off in dividends, to be quite honest. So be brave, be courageous,
Be arts confident.
Be
I
be
love
arts confident. There it
Don't
is.
think it's just for someone else. Don't think
Yeah.
you don't. We can all play pretend, and that's what
We've
drama
all got a bit
is.
of the
We can all
arts in
sing.
us.
We can all dance.
True that.
Love it.
Or at least I'll give it a red hot crack. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel inspired.
Me too.
I'll still sing, dance, perform my heart out.
Good.
Don't care who's watching
Yep.
or viewing. Thank you so much for joining us on the couch.
Thanks
It's
for
been
having me.
wonderful to chat. And we hope you've enjoyed this episode. You know, a lot to share here, a lot of it great advice and really hands-on resources that we can go and get access to and know where to go for help. So
Yeah.
until next time, thanks for joining us and you'll hear from us soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to the Teach New South Wales podcast, where we explore the dynamic world of education. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to be notified when new episodes become available. You can find us on social media via our handle @Teach New South Wales. Until next time, keep learning, keep teaching, and keep making a difference. This podcast is produced by the Teach New South Wales team from the New South Wales Department of Education.